Hey all you submariners out there, this is Matt and welcome back to my Cold Waters Elite difficulty playthrough. This will be episode number 8 and we're picking up pretty much exactly where we left off in the last episode. We're still going rogue in the Barents Sea, so we've encountered a group here and so we're going to engage them now. Close to 15,000 yards.
Lost contact, Sierra 1, last bearing 221, contact faded.
And as soon as we load in here, we do have 2 contacts, although we lose one almost right away. So I'm going to get busy classifying these right now.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is classified as escort.
Sierra 2 is a Utiloy. And right now we have a solution of 37%. And sonar has them at about 15,000 yards or so. Right now, since I'm not being pinged or anything like that, I'm going to take a little bit more time to get into proper position.
Our new contact bearing 246.
Make depth 150 feet, dive by. Make depth 450 feet, dive by.
So I'm adjusting my depth now to come below the layer as I continue to come around to get it in a better position to shoot on this guy, on the first one, Sierra 2. While I'm doing that, I'm still classifying the new targets. So I've gotten a ping here from, looks like Sierra 1, even though I don't have that. So that is enough to get me to want to actually get a weapon in the water now. Now that I've been pinged, it gives me an idea that they are at least somewhat aware of my presence, and I should get something in the water here. Just almost like a defensive weapon in a way. So I do shoot one towards the Utiloy.
Con sonar lost contact, Sierra 4, last bearing 246, contact.
So I was about to classify Sierra 4 and then that contact dropped off.
Contact on, Sierra 3, bearing 249. Con, helm, steady course.
So now that I'm below the layer, I did pick up another contact, which I've classified as a Grisha 3. Sierra 3 is a Grisha 3. Actually, no, I'm sorry, it's not. I hit the enter button there by accident. That's what happened, and I classified it as a Grisha 3 when it's really not. So I'm going through here and trying to find exactly what it is. And it looks like it might be a submarine, actually. It comes up pretty close to a November. So I classify it as such.
Submerged submarine.
Weapon 1 has now activated. I adjust the course of that torpedo so that the primary target here is the Utiloy. I want to put the Utiloy in the middle of the cone to have the best chance possible of this weapon acquiring when it gets close enough. So I want to try to put it right in the middle there if possible. While I'm messing around with that, the November does get reclassified. Sonar changes the range, updates the range, and now the November seems a lot closer. It's actually closer than the Utiloy at this point. That's enough for me to decide that I need to take care of the November as well. So I will fire another weapon at this time. Pretty much down the same exact path as weapon number 1.
Aye, sir. Dive at 450 feet, dive by.
I adjusted my depth a little bit there. Okay, so weapon number 1 has gone active. I took it into active mode. More than anything else, in an attempt to see if I could get the November to cavitate while this weapon approaches the Utiloy, I wanted to see if I could get the November to cavitate to have a bit of a better
weapon acquired.
A better solution on him. So weapon number 1 has acquired and is heading for the Utiloy. And as you can see, just below the Utiloy, you can see the November you know, a good distance under the water here, so you can see them both. So I know that the November is not very far away from the Utiloy. Actually, sonar has the November in front, but it's actually a little bit behind. that's it for the Utiloy.
Sierra 2, last bearing 2.
We'll switch to
4,
the second
6,
weapon, and
contact breaking up.
actually have to steer this one in because I know that the Utiloy is going to be an issue as it sinks. So skip ahead here a little bit. I just wanted to show a little bit of the action of the Utiloy actually sinking, and right now the weapon has acquired the Utiloy, so I have to actively steer it away. But I thought it was a pretty cool shot of it actually hitting the bottom and coming to rest on the bottom there, so I thought I'd share that with you. And now that we're past, the weapon has no longer acquired the Utiloy, and now I can steer it right into the November. We skipped ahead to the point where the weapon has acquired the November, and it's working its way in. The November's cavitating now and trying to get away as quickly as possible.
Sonar, we are cavitating.
But just as it's approaching there, finally I did get notice that a torpedo was dropped on me. So now I have to go to torpedo evasion at 450 feet. I'm going to have to cavitate the entire time if I'm at flank. I'm just not deep enough to support that type of speed. But I really would rather cavitate now than possibly get hit by a torpedo. So that's the decision that I made. I'd rather cavitate than be at the mercy of being struck by these torpedoes.
Breaking up.
Con, knuckle formed.
Once again, the technique that I use to evade torpedoes is simply to stay at the current depth that I'm at. At this point, it's 450 feet, and reach flank speed and shake my butt at the torpedo. Create as many knuckles as I can to spoof the tracker, and then just keep doing that over and over again until the torpedo runs out of energy. This is torpedo number 1. I guess I'll give you a couple of spoilers here. There's going to be many more than just this one on this mission. This ended up being quite the mission. You can see off in the distance there, I saw some depth charges being dropped, but they were nowhere near me, so I don't have to worry about that. The torpedo that's following me now is now quite a distance away. I don't think I really have to worry about it a whole lot now. I could slow down.
Make turns for 5.
As I'm doing right now, I can slow down and hopefully get some use out of my sonar again. Now I've decided to come up to periscope depth to get a better look at what's around, because I believe the rest of the contacts are going to be surface vessels. So I come up to periscope depth, I raise the ESM mast, and then the periscope. And as soon as I do, you hear the helicopter overhead. He's right on me. He must have been right there. So I need to get out of here as quickly as possible. I hit flank speed here, the flank speed bell at periscope depth, which is certainly going to cavitate. But it's more important that I get up to speed as quickly as possible. And I'm going to descend to 500 feet.
Make turns for 3 knots. Maneuvering eye.
Now I heard the torpedo enter the water immediately, so it's around here somewhere. It's off to my right, and it's coming around. Luckily, it already descended quite a bit, and it seems like the helicopter crew had set the torpedo to search shallow, so it just went over top of me and missed me by a fair margin.
Knuckle formed.
You'll notice that at flank speed, making depth changes is quite rapid. I'm already almost down to 500 feet already.
Sonar, torpedo in the water, bearing 050.
So that's the torpedo, another torpedo right there. It's coming right for me. And I'm once again just busy shaking my butt at this torpedo. I've got 2 torpedoes acquired on me now. And as you can tell, one knuckle is enough to get them both to go into countermeasure homing, so you can keep a couple torpedoes going at the same time pretty easily with this technique.
Knuckle formed.
Now, unfortunately, the torpedoes did split and go different directions when they went into countermeasure homing, so I might have to deal with them both. So I'll turn to 1, make a knuckle, get it to go into countermeasure homing, and then turn around, turn myself to face the other one, or face my butt at the other one, and then go into countermeasure homing. And make another knuckle to go into countermeasure homing again. And I'll just continue to go back and forth.
Knuckle formed.
This one seems to be a little bit more insistent. It's moving in towards me a little bit closer. Sometimes it doesn't work the first time or the second time. You have to keep trying, but eventually it will make the weapon go into countermeasure home. There you go. There it goes. Now the other torpedo in the distance now I don't really have to worry about anymore. It's far enough away that I don't think it's going to be a thing for me anymore. I'll just focus instead on this closest one.
Knuckle formed.
As you can see, there's not a whole lot to stress about now. It's just a matter of continuing on with this technique until the torpedo runs out of energy.
Knuckle formed. Knuckle formed.
Now, while I'm at this speed, obviously I can no longer use my sonar, but I do get some pings from something out there.
Knuckle formed.
I think that was one torpedo running out of energy right there. I just take a look ahead of me to see if I can see anything worth worrying about, maybe another incoming torpedo or something, but no, nothing to really worry about there. And there's the second torpedo running out of energy, or at least that one did. Yeah, the other one's still going, but it won't be for very long. So I slow down immediately so I can get some use out of my sonar, hoping to possibly pick up another target that I can put a torpedo at to try to pair off some of these enemies here. If I can possibly take another one out, then that's just one less person to worry about shooting at me. Then I hear immediately another torpedo in the water. I decide I'm going to fire the torpedo I have ready now in the general direction of where I believe the contact is, and then I'm going to get back to torpedo evasion. Now this one is a little bit more of a close shave. This one was hit or miss here. So instead of doing my usual technique, I do pull up and around to try to get up, get some distance between me and that torpedo, and it does pass just underneath me. That was a close shave. I was a little bit worried about that one. Pulled my feet up just to see if that would help. Had the crew pull their feet up there. So I've set the depth back at 500 feet. Now that I've evaded the first attack of this torpedo and it's turning away from me, excuse me, I can get back to the original technique. So it's turning back around on me. It has reacquired, but I'm not too worried about it. I've got some space now. So that would be torpedo number 4, I believe, at this point.
Knuckle formed.
At the same time, I'm trying to keep an eye on my torpedo that I launched, but I can't see it anymore because I can't hear it anymore because of the of my speed.
500 feet. Knuckle formed. Knuckle formed.
So right now, quite easily able to keep this one at bay.
Knuckle formed.
Meanwhile, I have the guys in the torpedo room reloading the tubes. Make sure that I'm ready in case I need them. Eventually I will, obviously.
Knuckle formed. Knuckle formed.
I think this is all from that bloody helicopter. And here comes another torpedo. You see it up to the
Con sonar
upper
lost
left.
contact. Sierra 1, last bearing 2.
Con, knuckle formed.
Looks like we sank that Cresta 2. Yeah, we sank the Cresta 2, so that torpedo I launched actually did
Con, knuckle
home
formed.
in. So we got torpedo number 5 in the water now. Yeah, torpedo number 5. So that one that came real close actually ran out of steam. And now we have torpedo number 6 in the water. Where is it? Should be around here somewhere. I definitely hear it. There it is. Torpedo number 6.
Con,
Sure is a
knuckle
departure from my first missions where I didn't have anybody shoot at me at all. This one definitely makes up for all those maybe
Con sonar.
less than
Torpedo
exciting
in the water.
missions where
Torpedo
nothing
in the
really
water.
happened.
Bearing 290.
Con, knuckle formed.
I can hear the helicopter overhead again. So he's still nearby.
Con,
He's
knuckle
got his dipping
formed.
sonar down, listen for me, I'm sure, and I'm sure he can hear me because I'm cavitating the whole time.
Con, knuckle formed.
Yeah, I have one torpedo way back there. It's not really anything to worry about. It's too far back, and this one is the one close in is the only one that really might be an issue.
Con, knuckle formed. Con, knuckle formed.
So let's just continue on with the technique here, the torpedo avoidance technique,
Con, knuckle formed.
which so far has definitely done me right.
Con, knuckle formed.
See, this torpedo didn't get spoofed the first couple times, so you might have to keep at it until it
Con,
works.
knuckle formed.
And that was one right there that was able to spoof its tracker.
Con, knuckle formed. Con, knuckle formed. Con, knuckle formed.
I think there's another torpedo in the water. That would be number 7.
Con sonar. Torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing.
I guess my
1,
memory on
7,
this isn't so
5.
great. I think that's number 7. And number 8.
Con, knuckle formed.
And because this one's a bit closer and I have a few in the water, I'm going to drop a noisemaker now, just to make sure that they have something to
Con,
look at.
knuckle formed.
Yeah, this helicopter really does not like me. It almost seems like
Con,
this
knuckle
is the
formed.
mission where Soviet High Command decided that they wanted to take me out, because they went at me hard on this one.
Knuckle formed.
I think they'd had enough of me sinking their ships in the Barents Sea, and they had a real attempt here to take me out. So that's one torpedo run out of steam. I can worry about this one now.
Con, knuckle formed.
That sound there may have been depth charges, but I wasn't looking in the right direction to see them. And they were nowhere near me anyway, nothing to worry about.
Con, knuckle formed.
Now, as I go forward, I'm trying to keep an eye on where those sonar pings are coming from, because I want to have an idea of where I'll need to aim once I'm able to finally slow down and shoot again. So I'm keeping an eye on that at the same time.
Con, knuckle formed.
This torpedo should be almost out of fuel now, I believe. Almost out of
Con,
energy, that
knuckle
is.
formed.
Getting pretty close, I think.
Con, knuckle formed.
That There was another bang there that I heard that may have been more depth charges, but once again, nowhere really close.
Con, knuckle formed. Con, knuckle formed.
Now I'm trying to turn around somewhat so that I can point in the right direction for once again when this torpedo runs out of steam. There's only so much you can do, really, especially with where it is between me and in the direction I want to go. More or less, I have to be more careful about that.
Con, knuckle formed.
So I don't want to put myself in a position where it's going to have a real good shot at me. So there, that torpedo has run out of steam,
No longer
and I will immediately slow down to 5 knots to try to get the use out of my sonar again. I set the torpedo to run shallow because I know it's going to be against a surface ship. Then I come back to periscope depth thinking I'm going to use my radar mast to get a good idea of where this target is. As soon as I do that, and then fire this weapon in the general direction of Master 4. So I'll fire that off.
One. Aye, sir.
As soon as I do that, here comes that helicopter again. So I got to get moving. Dive back down to 500 feet. Increase my speed to flank. Go torpedo evasion.
We are cavitating.
Looks like he dropped something there. I'm not really 100% sure what it was. It might have been a torpedo or something, but it looks like he dropped it, but it didn't have any effect on me. And as soon as I start to dive, then I do lose the wire, but that's fine. Now I'll skip ahead because actually there was no torpedo that came right down. It took a little while for him to finally drop on me. There's the next torpedo. I believe that would be torpedo number 9 on this mission, on this engagement.
Con, sonar. Torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing 153.
It's pretty close. It's pinging at me pretty hard, but I was able to get one knuckle.
Passing 500 feet.
And I started to maneuver again like I did the last time where it got real close.
Make depth 5.
But it finally did get thrown off my trail there, either by the knuckle or the noisemaker, one or the other. So in the end, I didn't really need to maneuver, but you don't know that, obviously, so at some point you're going to have to decide to do something about it. Otherwise, if you don't, it'll just explode you. So this torpedo's being a bit stubborn. There we go.
Con, knuckle formed. Con, dive at 5.
We have a noisemaker at bearing 252, which is around where Master 4 was. So it seems like the torpedo I launched did finally home in on Master 4, which I have not been able to classify. Not really sure what it is.
Con, knuckle formed.
Con,
Knuckle formed.
con, sonar. Noisemaker. Bearing 2, 4.
We have another noisemaker in that general area of where Master 4 was, so it seems like my torpedo is getting pretty close.
Con, knuckle formed.
They don't drop noisemakers for nothing, right? So you know if you hear a noisemaker that you've got a ship or a boat that's in peril.
Con, knuckle formed. Con, knuckle formed.
Yeah, this helicopter's really being a pain in my ass today.
Con,
Con, knuckle formed.
And I just noticed that right then that I'm actually really close to that sunken hulk there. I'm not sure which one that is. That might be the... Yeah, it's the Utiloi, I believe. So if I didn't notice I was approaching it, I'm not sure exactly what would have happened if I would have struck it. Probably would have done some damage to my boat, but I was able to avoid that. So now that that torpedo has exploded,
No longer
I'm going to slow down to 5 knots and put myself into position to point towards Master 4 in case I need to actually fire another weapon. But it seems like this one is going to do the trick. So we'll watch it approach here.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing 198.
And because this torpedo is an internal guidance, there's nothing I can do. I'll watch it go in a countermeasure homing, then a long sweeping turn to the left and come back towards the target. So I'm not sure what it is. To me, it doesn't much matter, even though I do try to classify it here quickly before the torpedo strikes.
Making turns for 5 knots.
But I do not have time.
Contact. Master 4.
And it doesn't really matter. He's down, that's all I really care about. So that was a bit of an exciting match there, that's for sure. And I'm down to my last 2 Mark 48 torpedoes. So I need to head back to Holy Lock to resupply. Looks like the other, the one I just sank was another Cresta 2. So because I'm down to my last 2 torpedoes, I'm going to back away from the Barents Sea as quickly as I can, head back towards Holy Lock to replenish my stores. And as you can see, they did try to get me. This enemy encounter group there did make an attempt to come out at me, but I was able to get away. It's a good thing I started moving when I did. Otherwise, I might not have been able to get away from them. So we'll return to Holy Lock. At this point, having sunk 362,000 tons of Soviet shipping, 45 days at war, total ships sunk 61. And we got all the medals by now. Once again, still running Rogue, so I'm not going to load any land attack missiles. I'm going to load all torpedoes. I haven't had a chance to use any of my harpoons. And while I'm here, I'll reload Tube 1 to be a torpedo instead of a harpoon, because I rarely ever use the harpoons. I'm really saving them for a certain mission that I've yet to be given. So I'll save the game here and get back to see if I can cause a little bit more damage. My target now would be these 2 in the Norwegian Sea. If I can possibly get one of them, I'd be happy with that. I'm moving slowly because I want to try to get in at 10 knots maximum. Speed up a little bit to put myself into position, and there we go. Sonar contact bearing 89, our heading's 134, so it'll be
Rig shift for ultra quiet.
about 40 degrees off to my left. And we already have a contact as soon as we load in. I have a very strong layer at 224 feet and no bottom, so that's positive. We'll classify this as a submarine. Looks like it might be a Victor of some kind, judging by how it's similar to the Charlie, so it's probably a Victor.
Con sonar.
Looks like a Victor 1
is classified as submerged submarine.
And he's just above the layer, although it looks like he's actually descending maybe a little bit.
Con sonar, new contact bearing 10.
We've got contact Sierra 2,
Sierra 2.
which I'm going to classify immediately, and that looks like
Con sonar,
like a
Sierra
November.
2 is classified as submerged submarine.
So neither one of these boats is particularly dangerous. A Victor 1 would be more dangerous than a November, but still, I'm not too worried about a Victor 1 either.
Come left to 0.
Not going to waste any time here. We'll just skip ahead
Our
to
lost
the
contact,
point
Sierra
where I've turned
2,
towards the
last
Victor
bearing
1 and decide
0,
to fire
6,
in his
contact
direction.
faded.
Able to keep the wire, and the weapon should activate here soon. Skip ahead to the point where we've acquired, or about to acquire, the Victor 1. And I noticed as it was approaching that my torpedo was actually way too shallow. You can find that information out on the conditions tab. You can see where the torpedo is and see where sonar has the target. So it shows me here that he's at about 750 feet. So I just adjust the depth of the torpedo.
Fire control.
I wasn't looking at where the Victor 1 actually was on the screen. I was looking at it in the conditions tab, so that's not, once again, I wouldn't call that cheating in any way. I'm just going by the information sonar has provided to me.
Fire control. Weapon acquired.
The weapon has acquired, and looks like it's going to hit the Victor 1 somewhere midships.
Sonar lost contact.
That's it for the Victor
Sierra
1.
1, last
And
bearing
meanwhile, I have put a
0,
weapon towards the
7,
November.
Contact breaking up. Sonar new contact bearing.
So as the weapon approaches the November and has already acquired, a new contact comes up, Sierra 3, and I don't even bother trying to classify him or anything. I just shoot immediately. I do not want to mess around with that. So I have a weapon in the water at Sierra 3 right away. And I did not mean to do that. It's the Victor 3. I can tell by the teardrop thing on the back end there. But it's a Victor 3. But I did not mean to spill the beans on that. It happens sometimes if you're out in the view where you can actually see the submarines, and you click on Sierra on one of the contacts on the little mini map, they will bring you to that contact and show you what it is. So you got to be careful that you don't spoil it for yourself that way. But once again, I had already fired at that point, so it doesn't matter a whole lot. So there goes the November.
2, contact breaking up. Sonar, Sierra 2.
We sped up time here a little bit to have the torpedo approach quicker, and now that the Victor 3 has launched as a countermeasure, I'll take over steering the torpedo.
Fire control. Weapon acquired.
And he's trying his best, but there's no way he's getting out of this.
Sonar lost contact.
And that's it for the Victor 3.
Last bearing 0, 5, 8. Contact breaking up.
I'll watch him break up here a little bit and then leave this mission eventually. No other vessels nearby, so we'll leave the mission. And according to that was all 3 of the submarines, so I got them all. So now we'll get back out to the map. The Admiral says, well done, but this was not your mission. Save it again. We'll get back to the summary screen here. And now that we've sunk those 3 submarines, we can see what our total is. Now we're at 380,350 tons. So I'll put a cut in it here, and we'll continue on with this career in the next mission, which I should be dropping sometime soon. Thanks and have a great day.